Hi, Teresa here from Parenting for Social Change, and thanks for joining me in my video today. This video goes along with an article that I've posted on my website. You'll find the link to the article below in the information so that you can read the article and also see the illustrations that I refer to in the video. What I want to talk about is the unconscious beliefs that come out of our experiences as children, the ways in which we make sense of the world. So as we grow up and we interact with adults, other children, we interact with institutions, we create this way of understanding the world. It's called a frame of reference. And what happens is over and over we have the same kinds of experiences as we're growing up. And so we begin to believe through those experiences and through that frame of reference that that's the way the world should be. And when we grow up, as the majority of us did, in systems and institutions and in adult-child relationships where children are not trusted and adults need to exercise control in order to ensure that children can successfully enter the adult world and meet the expectations of productivity or success or whatever else is set out in our culture, what happens in that kind of paradigm is we internalize these unconscious beliefs about the ways we should treat children, about the value and worth of children, about whether children can be trusted or not. We grow up, we become parents, and as a result of wanting to maybe create a different life for the children who share our lives, a different experience for them, we move away from this paradigm of power and control, and we want to be with children from a place of trust and respect. But we hit these roadblocks. And sometimes what we're unaware of are those unconscious beliefs and attitudes that are way below the surface. So if you look at the pyramid that I have in the article, it's kind of like the tip of an iceberg. The very top of that iceberg is our behavior, and everything below that includes our known thoughts and values and beliefs, those that we've kind of actively chosen to take on. For example, in my own life, I made a conscious decision to try to embrace these values of justice and fairness and kind of live that in my everyday life. So those are kind of my known values and beliefs. We also have thoughts that kind of come out of that. Sometimes I call those controlled thoughts versus automatic thoughts. And automatic thoughts are those thoughts that pop into our head that make us uncomfortable. We kind of wish we weren't thinking that, but they come into our head. They're there. Sometimes we judge those thoughts. Sometimes we judge the feelings that come along with it. And so instead, we say to ourselves internally, oh, I shouldn't think that. I know such and such is really true, and so we kind of control the thoughts and we think more acceptable thoughts. But those automatic thoughts are there, and below those automatic thoughts are these unconscious beliefs, attitudes, and values that come out of our experiences, that come out of that frame of reference that we developed as we were growing up. So as parents who are committed to being in a different kind of relationship with children that's based on trust and respect, the unconscious beliefs that we internalize and we developed as children can become a block that we're unaware of. And so when we think about our relationships with children and what we want to do with children, we know that when we're having an interaction with a child or we see sort of negative behavior on the part of the child, what we're able to do is we're able to say to ourselves, there's something going on with the child. That behavior is merely a symptom. It's like the tip of that iceberg. And we look to try to understand, especially when we're in this place of trust and respect, what's the unmet need underneath that behavior. And we try to figure out how we can meet the need of the child. We might help the child meet the need himself or herself. We might facilitate that process. There may be things that we as parents need to actively do with children to meet the need that they might have. But what we do when we're in that place of trust and respect is that we know that the behavior is a symptom, and we don't go into behavioral control, which is what our society encourages us to do, which is really the paradigm that we come from. We try to control the behavior, we punish the behavior, we do timeouts, all these things. We do rewards and punishment, maybe we do chore charts, or we put them in timeout or take away privileges. All of those things are behavioral controls. When we come from a place of trust and respect, what we're trying to do is see below that behavior and to try to really understand what's going on with the child. Well, what I'm asking you to do as a parent in your own journey, in your own learning, is to do the same. So when you are frustrated with yourself because you can't live up to this ideal you have about trust and respect. You're triggered and you get frustrated and angry, and you might yell, you might take something out on the child that really isn't what you're upset about. Oftentimes what we'll do is we will judge that behavior, and we will decide we're a bad parent. We don't feel good about ourselves. We feel like we're harming our children. Well, there may be some harm, there may be some things going on there, but instead of going beneath the surface, that tip of the iceberg of our behavior, often we just judge that behavior and we can't get beyond that. So in our journey, in our learning, what I'm asking us to do is to go below, to understand what's happening below the surface for us. What are those unconscious beliefs that are leading us to react in the way that we are? And when we begin to uncover those unconscious beliefs, when we become more aware of them, then we're able to in essence interact with them. We're able to engage in some ways those beliefs in a dialogue in which we can acknowledge that they're there, we can accept that they're part of our experience, but we can also not have them move us to react in ways that hurt the children in our lives. So that's our task as parents, is to uncover, to bring to consciousness the unconscious beliefs, attitudes, and values that are keeping us from being with children with trust and respect. Thanks for joining me today, and thank you for your commitment to transforming childhood, parenting, and transforming the world.